You ever start a business and you're so excited to start this business? When you start to get going, you find yourself not wanting to do this anymore. Like it's not what it cut out to be. And then you start doing something else after, and the same thing happens over and over again. That is what you call the phases of a business cycle. And in today's video, I'm going to talk about the 14 phases of a business cycle. Once you understand these 14 phases, it will change the way you look at business and it will help you get to the path of where you need to be. Welcome to Whiteboard Wednesdays, episode 5. I'm your host, Dean the Wealth Coach. So let's start talking about what these 14 phases are. You ever get excited about starting a new business? This is you. You're excited about starting a new business. And you say, yeah, I'm going to make a lot of money from this. I can't wait to get all these sales and whatnot. And it's going to be the best thing ever. That's the first part, right? You're like just super amped about it. Now you start. And now you get to here. You start questioning yourself. And this is number one. This is the disbelief. This is the disbelief stage or phase. At this stage, you start doubting yourself. You're like, can I really do this? Am I cut out for this? Am I going to make some sales? A lot of us, I think everybody goes through this, that self-doubt. But the moment you get over that, you get to the next stage. And that's hope. The hope stage, you're like, okay, I made a few sales. This could probably work. Or you say, okay, if I make a couple of sales, I can probably get some momentum and everything will be good. So that's the hope stage. So after the hope stage, you start making a lot of sales and you're like, man, this is really good. And guess what? You go from a straight line to start moving up. And you're like, wow, I'm making sales. Woohoo! Cha-ching! Money's coming in. And this is optimism because everything's going good. You're like, yes, I'm making money. Yeah, right? Now, with you getting to optimism, guess what? It comes to belief because you have success stories. You're making a lot of money. You're like, yo, I did it. It's working. I think I'm making my pictures a bit too big, but this is the money bags that you're making. And this is the belief stage. You're like, I can't believe I'm actually doing it. Yo, this is so great. Which then takes you to the next phase, which takes you to the next stage, which is called thrill. This is when you're getting some super big wins. Maybe like you got a multi-million-dollar contract, whatever it may be. But you're on top of cloud 9 here. Okay, I'm just dropping the picture here because I can't fit it in there. But like, these are your money bags. You're making some super cash. And you're in the thrill stage, and that's number 5. You're like so amped about it. Like you're like, I can't believe this. I'm so glad I started this, blah, blah, blah. And you're on a high, which then leads to the next level, which is called euphoria. You're like, oh my goodness, everything that I do works. I drop a new product, bam, I start making money. I do a coaching call with thousands of people, I make money. Nothing can go wrong. And this is where a lot of people start to experience something that they didn't think would happen in a million years. When the stock market crashed, when the housing market crashed, everyone always thinks like, there's a saying that Mike Tyson says, everybody's smart until they get punched in the face. Bitcoin, this has happened. The stock market, this has happened. It happens with everything in life. Like nothing can continuously go up forever. You're going to have some down moments. And this is what the 14 phases of the business cycle represents. So now you're at euphoria. Euphoria is the ultimate high. But after euphoria, something starts to happen. Your growth starts to slow down. You're like, oh, okay. And you start coming like this. You're like, you're still making money, but you're unsure what happened. It's not that. It's probably a slow month. We'll make back up the sales next month. And that's where you start to think to yourself, like, yeah, everything will be okay. We'll get back to euphoria. And then guess what happens after? Anxiety. Oh, hate that word. Anxiety starts to happen. Oh, let me take these down. Whoops. Now your sales start to decline. You're like, man, what are we gonna do? Oh my God. You start panicking. Okay, maybe this will go over, but we didn't make as much last month. We didn't make much this month, but we'll make it up, right? And guess what happens? You're still on a downtrend. Now you're not making as much. You're having some sharp declines. And this is the denial stage. You're like, yo, what's going on here? Like, yo, this is not good. At this stage, you're avoiding the warning signs. Things are telling you like, hey, this is not going to continue going up and up forever. Like, it had to come down eventually. Like, you thought you're going to stay on top forever? No, sir, Bob. What goes up must come down. Now you're at the denial stage. So what I'm going to have to do is redraw this because I didn't do a good job of that. So we're at 9. We're in denial now. We're in denial mode. We're coming down. We're like, no. This is denial. Sharp decline. So now we're in denial. And guess what happens? So after denial, you start to panic. You're like, oh no, what are we going to do? This is when you stop using logic and you start using your emotions to think. And you start making rash decisions. So this is 10 and this was 9. You start making rash decisions. You're like, yo, let's pivot this way. Let's go this way. Like, you're just trying to think of every way possible to get back to where you used to be. I find a lot of traders, people that trade stock market Forex, do this a lot. And this is something that I learned with Forex. But what I also realized is this applies for everything. Like, yeah, I'm bulk, I'm fit. But then you stop going to the gym and then you start losing muscle mass. You can't bench as much as you used to. It applies for everything. So like, these cycles are real, and when the signs are there, don't ignore them. Pay attention to them and think how you get out of that situation. So now from panic, you move to a very, very deadly danger zone. And this is called, oh, no, got a thing. Draw the bit, oh. And that's called capsulation. That's called capsulation. This is when you're like, man, I don't know what to do anymore. I'm so sad. No sales. Now you got to the capsulation stage. This is when you're feeling overwhelmed. You're just so lost. You're like, how did I get here? Oh my goodness, I don't know what to do. If you thought this was the bottom, I'm sorry to tell you, it gets worse. You're in anger mode now. You're like, Jesus, how did I get here? I can't believe this. Oh my goodness. That's your anger mode stage right now. You don't know what to do. You can't believe all this is happening to you. You're like, how did I even get here? Once you hit anger, it comes to depression. You're like, man, I can't believe it. The run's over. What are we going to do? Bankruptcy. Start something new. Like, so many different things happen. Like, you can't believe you got to this stage. A lot of people go through this, and I'm here to tell you something. There's one more. It goes to 14, which is disbelief. And that's when you're doubting yourself once again. Can I do this? But remember, I also said disbelief was the first stage, right? That's why it's a market cycle. It starts over again. So now if you get to that disbelief stage, guess what happens? You have the belief, the hope, the optimism, the thrill, euphoria, the complacency, anxiety, then you have the disbelief, not the disbelief. You have the complacency, the anxiety, denial, the panic, capsulation, anger, depression. And then guess what? You get back to disbelief again. If you understand these cycles, it's always going to be like this. You're going to go up, then down, then up, then down. You got to be able to weather the storm and go through all these cycles. If you can understand what cycle you're in, then you can make the right moves that you need to make so that you don't get to the panic, anger, depression stage. You maybe get to the complacency, maybe anxiety, but the moment you get there, you're able to figure out what you need to do to fix the problem and get back on track to get in euphoria. The beautiful thing is, I don't know if you like look, the best place to see this is like in the stock market. So if you look at the history of the stock market on a long-term scale, the stock market would have started here and it goes up, then it comes down, then 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 it goes up. You have your market cycles up, down, up, down. But if you look at it, look what happens. It continuously goes up. Now the problem is what people, when it comes to these market cycles, because they don't understand it, this is what happens to people. They don't even get to experience the thrill, optimism, or euphoria. They start here, they go up, And then, not even that close. Let's do this again. They start to go up, and guess what happens? They got to the belief stage, but they want to experience euphoria. Here, it doesn't work that way. You have to go through the cycles: belief, the optimism, the thrill, to get to euphoria. But most people don't get there. They get to belief, and guess what they do? They drop it because it's not what they expected, and they start back here, starting the cycle again. And then they start something else, wanting to get to euphoria, and they're at the belief stage, and they stop and they start again. Do you notice what's happening? You're going downward. And that's why people are not successful when they don't stick to something. Consistency is your best friend. The more consistent you are in doing something new, the better you'll get at it. Yes, there will be bumps and roads, but everything comes with bumps and roads. Imagine starting a business and it just went straight up like this. Where's the excitement in this? There is no excitement because it's just continuously going up. I guarantee you. Perfect example. Play a video game that you have mastered, or play any game that you have mastered. And if you keep beating the level over and over again, is that going to excite you to want to play again? No. Why? Because it's predictable at that point. Life is unpredictable. Business is unpredictable. So if you think that something's going to be all roses and roses and tulips, I'm sorry to tell you, no. You have to go through these cycles in order to get to where you need to be. If you want to get up here, you got to start down here, and you got to go through those cycles. But if you can weather the storm, it gets better and better each time that you do it. So remember these 14 business cycles. I hope you found value in this video and take what I taught you about these 14 phases and apply this to your business to make sure that you become prosperous in the business venture that you do. And make sure to hit the subscribe button to keep up to date when I drop a new episode of Whiteboard Wednesdays. And you can watch the previous episodes by clicking right here.